thought you could leave without saying goodbye.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 Hollywood conspiracy theories of all time.
They're here.
For this list, we'll be looking at some of the most pervasive conspiracy theories originating in Tinseltown. We'll be focusing on individuals involved primarily in the film industry, so theories about those better known for music, for instance, will be left for another day. Also, though it goes without saying, take these with a big grain of salt. Which of these do you think is the most outlandish? Let us know in the comments. Number 20. Ben Affleck and Matt Damon didn't write Good Will Hunting. As we all know, two little-known actors, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, shot to superstardom in the late 90s when they wrote and starred in Good Will Hunting. They even won the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay. But it seems unbelievable for some that two good-looking dudes in their 20s penned such a stirring drama.
You don't know that.
I don't?
No, you don't know that.
Oh, I don't know that.
Sure, they'd been around before then, but the meteoric rise is admittedly sudden. Instead, it's been suggested that the Princess Bride scribe William Goldman was actually behind it.
Inconceivable!
Goldman did indeed read the script in pre-production, but otherwise denied his involvement. Rather, he maintained that he merely agreed with the previous suggestion that the movie not be a thriller. What a different movie that would be.
Now, in business we have heretofore, you can speak with my aforementioned attorney. Good day, gentlemen. And until that day comes, keep your ear to the grindstone.
Number 19. Paul Walker's death.
I love you, Mia.
Don't do that.
What?
The way you said it, it's like goodbye. Say something else.
It's an understandable reaction not wanting to believe it when someone needlessly dies so young. Such was our shock when actor Paul Walker perished at just 40 when the car he was a passenger in crashed while traveling at high speeds. But the alternative explanations people have proposed to make sense of the whole thing are far-fetched, to say the least. Prior to the crash, Walker was attending a charity event set up to help those affected by Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines. Some speculate that Walker uncovered conspiracies in the relief efforts, which led to the vehicle's brake line being tampered with, which is obviously untrue. And of course, you can't have a tragic celebrity death without someone blaming the Illuminati. Number 18. Who killed Johnny Stompanato? No, notorious gangster Johnny Stompanato wasn't a Hollywood figure, but his death did involve big screen icon Lana Turner.
Now, just a moment, young lady. It's only because of my ambition that you've had the best of everything. And that's a solid achievement that any mother can be proud of.
And how about a mother's love?
Love? But you've always had that.
Stompanato and Turner were involved at the time of the former's death, and by all accounts, it wasn't a healthy relationship. Stompanato was known to be violent, with a particularly heated row in 1958 resulting in his death. Stompanato had reportedly threatened to kill Turner, her mother, and her daughter. Turner's teenage daughter, Cheryl Crane, looked to defend her mother with a kitchen knife, leading her to fatally stab Stompanato. It was deemed a justifiable homicide, but rampant speculation followed that Crane had taken the blame to protect Turner. Despite the rumor's persistence, Crane has maintained her culpability. Number 17. The Church of Scientology played matchmaker for Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise's associations with the Church of Scientology are well-founded. But pair any A-list actor with the religious organization, and you're sure to get more than a few conspiracy theories. Unlike most on this list, though, this one was reported on by a major publication.
Yeah. I've been Scientologist for over 30 years, and it's something that, as you know, without it, I wouldn't be where I am.
Yeah. As the story goes, in 2004, following Cruise's breakup with Penelope Cruz, the Church of Scientology launched a campaign to get him matched up again. This supposedly resulted in Iranian-British actor Nazanin Bunyadi dating Cruise for a few months before he eventually wed Katie Holmes.
We've never seen you behave this way before.
I know.
Have you ever felt this way before?
Legal representatives from both Cruise and the church denied the claims and threatened to sue Vanity Fair, citing the magazine's, quote, religious bigotry. Number 16. Thelma Todd's unsolved death. Thelma Todd was a prominent screen actor in the 1920s and 30s before her untimely death at just 29.
Come here, Brown Eyes.
Oh, no, you're not going to get me off this bed.
I didn't know you were a lawyer. You're awfully shy for a lawyer.
You bet I'm shy. I'm a shyster lawyer.
On December 6, 1935, Todd was discovered dead in the front seat of her car parked in a garage. The cause of death was listed as carbon monoxide poisoning, but the explanations that it was an accident or that she took her own life never really stuck. The LAPD went with the former, claiming she could have been using the car to keep warm overnight after being locked out. But informal accounts that she had extensive injuries and the fact that she'd previously come from a party where she had a negative exchange with her abusive ex-husband, Pat DiCicco, make people suspect foul play even today. Number 15. Steven Spielberg directed Poltergeist. Now, if any of these theories are true, it's likely this one.
Now clear your minds. It knows what scares you. It has from the very beginning. Don't give it any help. It knows too much already.
Many would be forgiven for thinking that 1982's Poltergeist was flat out directed by Steven Spielberg, seeing as it feels so similar to his other works. But he officially only served as a writer and producer, whereas Texas Chainsaw director Tobe Hooper took the reins. Spielberg's contract for E.T. meant he couldn't direct another film during production, but that didn't stop him from frequently visiting the Poltergeist set. Spielberg's level of creative influence had many questioning whether he was the de facto director.
How's Teague taking?
Well, you know Teague. He won't go to hell for an answer.
What are you gonna tell him?
I'm gonna give him directions.
Both Hooper and Spielberg have denied the claims, but they keep surfacing all the same. Number 14. Natalie Wood's suspicious death.
Empty your head.
Empty my head?
See? Relax.
Actor Natalie Wood's drowning in 1981 was officially ruled accidental, but accusations of foul play have persisted. Wood was aboard her husband Robert Wagner's yacht near Santa Catalina Island. Along with him, her Brainstorm co-star Christopher Walken and the ship's captain. Some cited Wood's blood alcohol content as the factor that led to her falling in the water, but some doctors claim the bruises found on her body are in keeping with what might have been inflicted had she been forced off the boat. In 2011, Captain Dennis DeVerne redacted his original statements that Wood and Wagner had an argument beforehand, specifying that it was about Wood flirting with Walken. Wagner was named a person of interest in 2018, but for now it remains a theory. Number 13. James Dean's survival.
You're tearing me apart!
What?
You say one thing, he says another, and everybody changes back again!
Seemingly every time a celebrity dies tragically young, you'll find someone claiming it was all a hoax, and that they're really alive and well. While we'd love for that to be the case, sadly, all evidence points to actor James Dean dying at just 24 in a car crash. But in recent years, theories started circulating that Dean made a deal with the studio to fake his death and get him out of the spotlight. From there, Dean supposedly moved to Canada and grew old, before dying in 2018 in a car wreck, ironically enough. It's a fanciful theory, but the sad truth is that the actor was taken in the prime of his youth and the prime of his career.
Say, you got any good-looking sisters back there? Might be interested in some poor people.
Money isn't old, you know, Jim.
Not when you got it.
Number 12. Marissa Tomei's erroneous Oscar. Well, it's only erroneous if the conspiracy theorists are right, which,
This car had an independent rear suspension. Now, in the 60s, there were only 2 other cars made in America that had positive traction and independent rear suspension and enough power to make these marks.
By all accounts, Marissa Tomei gave a tremendous comedic performance in My Cousin Vinny. But those who would deny her the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress are only right in that it's not the kind of role the Academy usually recognizes. We can see Vanessa Redgrave or Judy Davis being heavier favorites that night, but surely there have been upsets before. Well, according to some, the goof came when presenter Jack Palance accidentally read Tomei's name on the list of nominees rather than the winner's name, and the Academy simply let it slide. While Tomei walked away with gold, she later called out the rumor for being, quote, extremely hurtful.
Will you please answer the counselor's question?
No, I hate him.
Your Honor, may I have permission to treat Ms. Vito as a hostile witness?
You think I'm hostile? Now wait till you see me tonight.
Number 11, George Reeves' death.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird.
It's a plane!
It's Superman! Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men.
George Reeves was best known for playing Superman on TV in the 1950s. So it came as something of a shock that the seemingly invulnerable man had died at just 45. The official ruling was that Reeves had taken his own life while party guests were downstairs. But this became highly contested. Some alleged that he was accidentally shot by his fiancée, Leonore Lemon, with she and the party guests taking a fair amount of time to alert the authorities. Others suspected MGM vice president and fixer Eddie Mannix of putting a hit on Reeves, who had previously had an affair with Mannix's wife, Toni. Whatever the case, it'll likely stay one of Hollywood's most enduring mysteries.
Good night.
Number 10, Jane Mansfield was a Satanist. The late Jane Mansfield was a major sex symbol in the 50s and 60s.
But most people do think of you as a sex symbol. Do you mind that?
No, I think it's fun. I dig it. I think it's very campy.
She was a Playboy playmate. She allegedly dated Robert and John Kennedy, and she was the first actress of the sound era to don her birthday suit for a film. The movie was 1963's Promises, Promises. She was also allegedly a Satanist.
A nasty remark? And you meant it to be nasty.
Mansfield visited the Church of Satan in 1966, and she was named High Priestess of San Francisco's Church of Satan by its founder, Anton LaVey. This was a media sensation throughout the late 60s, and it led many to believe that Mansfield was a practicing Satanist. LaVey's daughter Carla later confirmed, quote unquote, that Mansfield was a Satanist and that she had dated her father. Number 9, Paul Thomas Anderson directed A Prairie Home Companion. 2006 saw the release of a musical comedy called A Prairie Home Companion.
Where you can see the stars and the living slow. We'll eat potluck and pull guitars down an old plain road.
The film was directed by Robert Altman, who is perhaps best known for directing the MASH movie in 1970.
This isn't a hospital! It's an insane asylum!
This was Altman's final film, as he passed away just 5 months after its domestic release. Unfortunately, some people didn't believe that Altman would finish the movie. He was 80 years old and sick, likely suffering from the leukemia that would eventually take his life. To secure insurance, Paul Thomas Anderson was hired as a backup director just in case Altman couldn't complete the filming. The theory posits that it was Anderson who actually directed the film, not the ailing Altman. Altman denied this shortly before his death. Number 8, Nicolas Cage is a vampire. Nicolas Cage was born in January 1964. Or was he?
What?
Back in 2011, an antiques dealer named Jack Mord posted an old picture on eBay. The picture shows a man from the 19th century who shares a striking resemblance to Cage. But it goes further than a mere resemblance. Mord claims that Cage is a vampire who reinvents himself every half-century or so. In this lifespan, the immortal vampire decided to become a popular actor.
I'm a vampire! I'm a vampire! I'm a vampire! I'm a vampire! I'm a vampire!
Cage's lack of aging is also presented as a clue to his supposed immortality. This theory became so popular that David Letterman confronted Cage about it on his talk show.
Let's see that again, because there are some similarities.
But it's slowed down.
Yeah.
Cage humorously denied the accusation, but he did admit that he shared a resemblance to the older gentleman. Number 7, Tommy Wiseau didn't direct The Room.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
The name Tommy Wiseau is synonymous with bad movies. The Poland-born filmmaker, maybe, famously created The Room, having produced, written, and directed the film himself. He also infamously starred as its lead character, Johnny.
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
However, some people believe that the movie was actually directed by the script supervisor, Sandy Schklair. Schler told Entertainment Weekly that it was actually he who directed the movie, as Wiseau was too busy acting. The story was corroborated by an anonymous actor who worked on the film.
You guys are too much.
Co-star Greg Sestero also corroborates the legend in The Disaster Artist, claiming that Schler often took over filmmaking duties from Wiseau. Wiseau has denied the allegations.
You betrayed me. You're not good. You're just a chicken. Chip, 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 chip.
Number 6. Bruce Lee and the Triads.
What do they want me to do?
Bruce Lee's death is famously shrouded in mystery and has generated a number of conspiracy theories. Lee seemed a paragon of health, which made his premature death at just 32 highly suspicious. The official cause of death is a cerebral edema that was possibly exacerbated by an allergic reaction to meprobamate. The drug is found in Equagesic, which was given to Lee to quell a headache on the night of his death.
It's so extremely rare that this kind of thing happens. What it's like is an allergy to, say, penicillin.
Others aren't so sure. One leading theory posits that Lee was assassinated by the Chinese Triads.
They said he upset it because of his success in the film industry and taking the martial arts around the world, that he upsetted the Triads.
Their motives are numerous, including business investments and Lee refusing to pay protection money. No one can agree on why the Triads supposedly had Lee killed, but the unfounded theory has persisted nonetheless. Number 5. Keanu Reeves is immortal. Similar to the Nicolas Cage conspiracy theory, this one claims that Keanu Reeves is some type of immortal being who has transcended the centuries without aging.
Whoa.
Some people believe that historical figures bear a striking physical resemblance to Reeves, including the French actor Paul Mounet. Mounet studied to become a doctor before pursuing acting, and maybe he unearthed some kind of everlasting formula during his studies. Of course, the biggest clue towards Reeves' immortality is his distinct lack of aging.
I'm sorry.
Many people think that Reeves has aged exceptionally, even suspiciously well. The John Wick series certainly hasn't quelled the theory. There's just no way a man in his 50s can do what he does.
You, working again?
No, just sorting some stuff out.
Oh, well. I'll leave you be then. Good night, John.
Good night, Jimmy.
Number 4. George Lucas directed Return of the Jedi. The original Star Wars trilogy is widely credited to creator George Lucas. What some people might not know is that he only directed the original movie. The Empire Strikes Back was directed by Irvin Kershner, and Return of the Jedi by Richard Marquand.
And I liked the apparent naivete and simplicity with which George had made Star Wars. I liked that style.
However, there's a long-standing theory that Lucas essentially ghost-directed the latter.
No. Somehow, I've always known.
Lucas was reportedly on set quite often, overseeing the inexperienced Marquand, and there are rumors that Lucas personally shot some of the second unit work. Some people believe that Lucas controlled Marquand, essentially directing the director.
You don't need to see his identification.
We don't need to see his identification.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
These aren't the droids we're looking for.
Others claim that the movie was made in post-production, with Lucas and his then-wife Marcia molding the finished product in the editing room.
Here goes nothing.
As it is, Lucas was only given screenplay and story credits. Number 3. Marilyn Monroe was killed. If a popular entertainer dies young under mysterious circumstances, you better believe that there are going to be conspiracy theories.
The lurid circumstances of Marilyn's death made national headlines across the world.
Screen icon Marilyn Monroe died at just 36 on the night of August 4th, 1962. The official cause of death was acute barbiturate poisoning, and the general consensus is that Monroe took her own life.
Speculating that on the last night of her life, Marilyn had wanted merely to sleep through her despair, as she had done so many times before. Possibly under the heavy influence of drugs, she simply lost track of the number of sleeping pills she had swallowed.
However, no one really knows for sure. Cue the conspiracy theories. Some believe that Monroe was killed and that her death was staged to look like an intentional decision or accidental overdose.
I was there at the time when she died.
there were some people there that normally wouldn't have been there.
You mean Bureau people?
Yeah.
Are you aware how long afterwards they came on the scene?
Immediate.
Norman Mailer famously claimed in his book, Marilyn, a Biography, that Monroe was killed by government agents owing to her alleged affair with Robert F. Kennedy. Mailer, and the theory in general, were widely lambasted.
But I did find evidence the circumstances of her death had been deliberately covered up.
Number 2. Stanley Kubrick filmed the moon landing. You get 2 conspiracy theories in one with this entry. As many as 20% of Americans believe that the moon landings were faked, with the supposed footage being filmed on a Hollywood soundstage.
And you hear about the fact that the landing was actually done in a television studio.
And there was the big black background with, like, you know, fake stars and stuff. It's the flag being planted on the moon facing one way, and the shadow of the man being the other way.
I mean, I've heard that maybe the terrain that was seen on the video wasn't accurate.
And that footage was directed by none other than acclaimed filmmaker Stanley Kubrick. No one really knows where this theory came from or why it even started in the first place. That's when you know you have a sound conspiracy on your hands. The leading theory about the theory is that NASA contacted Kubrick owing to his work on 2001: A Space Odyssey and asked him to help trick the world. But what about the flags and footprints on the moon, you ask? Don't worry about it. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The Illuminati. Believe it or not, the Illuminati has been the subject of conspiracy theories for centuries. The Illuminati began as a German secret society in 1776, but was quickly suppressed by the Bavarian monarchy.
The Illuminati would become more notorious in their afterlife than they had ever been in their brief existence.
However, many people believed that the secret society continued in some capacity, and they were blamed for starting the French Revolution.
Today, the term Illuminati is used to reference many different organizations that have claimed to have some connection to the original Bavarian Illuminati or other secret societies.
Some conspiracy theorists now believe that all major celebrities, not to mention most people belonging to the upper class, are part of the not-so-secret Illuminati.
Apparently there's this... I don't know if they listen or not. Apparently there's this group, I don't know, called the Illuminati, who are behind the scenes governing everything, running all the top businesses, running all the top organisations, and evidently this shadowy organisation are communicating through Susan Boyle's Ice Bucket Challenge.
They supposedly wish to start a new world order and are using their fronts, like film, television, and music, to propagate their convictions. Is Hollywood really just a front for Illuminati propaganda? You tell us.
For years now, talk show hosts, people on television, people in sitcoms have been hired by the government to throw you off the track, to distract you, to make you laugh and stuff like that, make you happy and docile so you don't know what's really going on.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.